Moods may also have an effect on how information is processed, by influencing the extent to which judges rely on pre-existing, internal information, or focus on new, external information. Positive moods promote more holistic and top-down processing style, while negative moods recruit more stimulus-driven and bottom-up processing. Rice took a stab at settling the argument with a meta-analysis, a study of studies, on whether people can really perceive better than CD quality. He analyzed data from studies, including more than participants and nearly 13,000 listening tests. Overall, listeners picked out the better than CD quality track 52.3% of the time. Statistically significant, if not all that impressive. It's not that human activities didn't impact wildlife at all, of course. Heavily hunted species, like white-tailed deer, gray squirrels, and raccoons, were photographed somewhat less often in hunted areas. Coyotes showed up more often in hunted areas. While most species didn't avoid hiking trails, the predators actually preferred. Trade unions originated in Europe during the industrial because of the machinery that had become commonplace. Skilled labor became less in demand, so employers had nearly all of the bargaining power. Employers mistreated the workers and paid them too little for the work they did. Trade unions were organized that would help in the improvement of working conditions. The brain is divided into two hemispheres, called the left and the right hemispheres. Each hemisphere provides a different set of functions, behaviors, and the right hemisphere is often called the creative side of the brain, while the left hemisphere is the logical or analytic side of the brain. The right hemisphere controls the left side of the body, and the left hemisphere controls the right side. Introvert, or those of us with introverted tendencies, tends to recharge by spending time. They lose energy from being around people for long periods of time, particularly large crowds. Extroverts, on the other hand, gain energy from other people. Extroverts find their energy is sapped when they spend too much time alone. They recharge by being social. Such cross-protection is usually seen between two animals. But Gore studies the same sort of mutualism, and he and his team demonstrated the first experimental example of that cross-protective relationship in drug-resistant microbes, using two strains of antibiotic-resistant E. coli bacteria, one resistant to ampicillin, the other to chloramphenicol. The uniquely scented flavor of vanilla is second only to chocolate in popularity on the world's palate. It's also the second most expensive spice after saffron. But highly labor-intensive cultivation methods and the plant's temperamental life cycle and propagation mean production on a global scale is struggling to keep up with the increasing demand for the food is one of the most important things you'll ever, and yet most people never bother to think about their food and where it comes from. People spend a lot more time worrying about what kind of blue jeans to wear, what kind of video games to play, what kind of computers to buy. Blue is the most popular color. Food researchers disagree. When humans searched for food, they learned to avoid toxic or spoiled objects, which were often blue, black, or purple. When food died, blue is served to study subjects. They lose appetite. Before European explorers had reached Australia, it was believed that all swans were white. Dutch mariner, Antoine Can, was the first to be amazed at the sight of Australia's black swans on the Shark Bay, and explorer Willem de Vlaming captured two of these creatures on Australia's Swan River and returned with them to Europe to prove their existence. From that point on, black swans and Australia have been closely linked. A national study into fraud by bookkeepers employed at small and medium-sized businesses has uncovered 65 instances of theft in more than 5 years, with more than $31 million stolen. Of the cases identified by the research, 56 involved women and 9 instances involved, however, male bookkeepers who defrauded their employer stole 3 times, on average, the amount that women stole. Tesla's theoretical work formed the basis of modern alternating current electric power. Thomas Edison promised him almost $1 million in today's money to undertake motor and generator improvement. However, when Tesla asked about the money, Edison reportedly replied, "Tesla, you don't understand our American humor." The pair became arch rivals. Few things in the world produce such amazement as one's first glimpse of the Grand Canyon, It took around more than 2 billion years to create this vast wonder, in some places 17 miles wide, largely through the relentless force of Colorado River, which runs 277 miles along its length, a mile beneath its towering. Australians do speak English. However, for some tourists and travelers, it can be difficult to understand the slang. Also, the links between Australian and American English were seen to be very tenuous. At least some colloquialisms in Australian English do not exist in other types of English.